Hi and welcome to my new build guide. Quickly gonna run a map. This is Herald of Agony Juggernaut. The playstyle is as simple as it gets. We use Cyclone that is slotted into gloves with chance to poison and cast while channeling ball lightning, life gain and hit. The Cyclone is not doing any damage, it's just used to get virulence, poison enemies and spawn Agony Crawler. Agony Crawler is a second part of Herald of Agony. It spawns this scorpion that follows us and kills enemies. He has a couple of different attacks. He has a melee attack, which he doesn't use very often. He has mortar attack, which does a bunch of AoE damage, but usually he just shoots projectiles out of his tail, as you can see in the video. The reason we play Juggernaut is because Juggernaut solves a lot of problems with taking damage right now. This used to be a really good build back in the day, but there is so much stuff, so much new stuff in the game, so much damage that the build kind of fell behind, but I kind of found a way to make it work by using the Divine Flesh, which will be explained later in the video. We basically get as much resistance as we can, and we max our chaos resistance to 90%, and then we mitigate elemental damage with chaos resistance, but as I said, it will be explained later on. The playstyle is as simple as it gets. Cyclone into enemies and let your Agony Crawler kill everything that's there. So the build holds its own with just a couple of exalts. It's not very popular build, definitely not a meta build, but yeah. So this is a POB. As always, I'm gonna mention, check out the notes. I'm gonna write up some useful tips here, something so you don't have to ask questions later on, something that a lot of people might not understand how we do it. So here it is. Back to the tree. I've sorted the tree out. Starting out, just a reminder, grab some more life. Padding towards Resolute Technique, grabbing cold arms along the way, so our war cries are instant, specifically Enduring Cry. We are using it a lot. And then this is a tree, if you don't have the cluster jewels yet, but as it will be explained, there is no reason not to have them, because they are extremely easy and cheap to roll. You can buy them, but rolling them will cost you nothing. So we grab some minion nodes here to buff our Agony Crawler. But once you get cluster jewels, you don't need those. And this is going to be, and this is all without the Divine Flesh still. So later on, this is going to be a current tree. We spec out of those minion nodes and we fill out our clusters. I would recommend getting Divine Flesh around level 75 or something like that, but the build works without it, but once you get it, you become that much more tanky. It does not affect your overall damage though. Yeah, tree is extremely simple. We grab endurance charges, we grab life, we grab some dex, spell suppression, more life, and then we pad toward our Divine Flesh combo right here, which will be explained shortly. And then we fill out our clusters, and then we are good. To finish up the build, to round up, you grab more life basically. This is a level 91 tree, so next couple of levels I would grab just life nodes, and that's about that. So let's explain Divine Flesh and what it does. So you have a Glorious Vanity Jewel. It needs to have Xibaqua on it in the text, and then it transforms Keystone's passives into Divine Flesh Keystone. It says all damage taken bypasses energy shield, not important because we have no energy shield, we are a life-based build. 50% of elemental damage taken as chaos damage and +5 to maximum chaos res. So currently in the game, with the Eldritch Altars and all of that, there are a lot of elemental damage as extra damage, map mods with the extra damage and whatnot. It's usually extra elemental damage or extra chaos damage. So let's say, just to oversimplify this, you take a hit, and it's a cold damage hit. If we look at our resistances, we have a 77% cold resistance. So let's say we take a hit that would do 1000 damage to our life pool. Half of that damage is going to be taken as chaos damage. We push our chaos resistance, now it's 42, but when I get my endurance charges and when I poison myself, it goes to a maximum cap of 89. Well, maximum is 90, but I choose to anoint something else instead of +1 chaos res. Yeah, so let's say you would take 1000 damage, cold damage. It would get split 500 cold, 500 chaos. That chaos damage, those 500, will get then reduced by your chaos resistance. So instead of taking 1000 damage, you would take 500 plus reduced 500 by 90%, if I understand it well. So that's about that. As I said, oversimplified, it basically makes you take less overall damage. So the way we push our chaos resistance to 89 is by using the golden rule Viridian Jewel, which says 1% of chaos resistance per poison on you. It says poison you inflict is reflected to you if you have fewer than 100 poisons. I'm going to show you quickly in a map what happens once we start poisoning things. So right now chaos resistance is at 42%. Once I get endurance charges and I start poisoning stuff, it jumps to 89 capped, and overcap is tremendous, as you can see. So with those 89 chaos resistance, we are reducing the elemental damage taken immensely, which makes us extremely tanky. And that's because of that self-poison. On the top here you can see how many times I have been poisoned, and for each poison on myself, which is 100 right now, I get 1 chaos resistance. So with just a little bit of chaos resistance on the gear, endurance charges give you chaos resistance as well, 4%, and with self-poisoning you're going to be maximum capped on your chaos res at all times. So what you're looking at the screen is me reaching level 77 and starting to use Divine Flesh, and just to test it out because I felt really tanky in a map, I went into a Maze of the Minotaur. Now this is a ghosted Minotaur with all the Atlas passives, and I'm gonna turn on the map mods just in a second here. It has a turbo and it has a chain, and it has a crit with crit multi. So it's a pretty fast, pretty strong Minotaur fighting a level 77 Juggernaut with like level 14 gems or like 15 gems. As you can see the map mods right now. So it's just to showcase what Divine Flesh can actually do for you. Now as I said, this is way off the mid-max. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, obviously the damage is not going to be amazing here because I'm only level 77 and my gems are not leveled up yet. But I think this is actually still a 6-link Agony Crawler. But yeah, I was pretty satisfied when it happened like this. So this is just a little showcase. So when it comes to jewel slots, I'm gonna first explain the cluster jewels. We use 2 large cluster jewels with 8 passive. If you're playing solo self-found, you don't have the minions deal with 10% increased damage jewels, that's fine. You can use any large cluster jewels, but this one is the best, obviously. Now, you need to roll it without any notable passives. You need to roll stats. So anything that helps you, dexterity, resistances, life, whatever you want, just no notables. In one of those, you're gonna be socketing a lone messenger jewel. Once you get it, I think it's like 1 chaos this league, so it's basically free. On the other one, you go for a medium cluster jewel. Now this one is a 4 passive jewel that minion deals still 10% increased damage while you're affected by a herald, and you need to roll pure agony. Everything else, not important. If you roll something else, such as Cult Leader, sure, take it, but not important. The important one is pure agony because of maximum virulence, which is explained on the gem. And then you're slotting it with 2 passive small cluster jewels where you need to roll Born of Chaos. Now this repeats one more time on top, but we are using double medium. So again, large cluster jewel, just stats rolled on it, live dex. Again, medium cluster with Pure Agony, another one with Pure Agony, which is then slotted again by 2 passive chaos resistant small cluster jewel, which is then rolled with Born of Chaos. So 2 times large cluster jewel, 3 times medium cluster jewel, once with Lone Messenger, and 3 times with Born of Chaos. On the medium cluster jewels we are rolling Pure Agony. As you can see, nothing else is used. Pure Agony. If you roll something else, it doesn't bother you. Just go from the other side and take Pure Agony. Now I will show how simple it is to roll these jewels. With like 50 alternation orbs you can roll all of your jewels, and a couple of regal orbs. It is as simple as that. We are using Glorious Vanity with Xibaqua to get our Divine Flesh. We are using the Golden Rule. So those are the make a build jewels. Everything else is optional. Extremely cheap option right now is the Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh combo with allocates Valako, which then gives you Regen per endurance charge and +1 endurance charge. Now for this combination I've paid I think 150 chaos orbs for both of them. They might be even lower right now, so no reason not to buy it once you get some money. So when it comes to gearing up the character, the gear is extremely basic and cheap. We're gonna start with our best in slot chest piece, which is going to be Lionized Vision. It gives tons of armor, and because of the Juggernaut node, that armor actually gets doubled. 6 link at this point is around 50 chaos, something like that, so it shouldn't be an issue. It gives us life and gives us a level 15 pierce, so we can have a 7 link on our Herald of Agony. Rest of the gear, when it comes to helmet, boots and gloves, we go for life and spell suppression if we can. Now on the gloves, before we get Elder Gloves with chance to poison, you're gonna be slotting Cyclone, chance to poison, life tap and life gain and hit. After you get chance to poison gloves, you can go with cast on channeling ball lightning, life gain and hit to get some more life and poisons. Boots, there's a very cheap base with +1 endurance charges. It's the synthesis base for a couple of chaos, and then you just throw like dexterity essences or life essences just to until you hit spell suppression. As you can see, pretty basic: life, dex, spell suppression, crafted movement speed. 1 circle of nostalgia, increased damage for our agony crawler and reservation efficiency. The other ring, this is just a random ring I found, res life. On the shield you can actually get +1 all chaos spell skills gems, and then you get whatever you need. Helmet, same thing, spell suppression, life. For our enchantment you can go reservation efficiency, even though it is not needed. I'm using percent damage recouped as life, but you can actually roll physical taken as some element, which is even better for you because of the Divine Flesh. For our weapon, best in slot is going to be a Cold Iron Point for +3 spell skills gems. Amulet, you can go for +1/+1 all chaos, all spell, because Herald of Agony gem is a herald, spell, minion, chaos and physical, all of those tags, so it's pretty easy to level it up. On the amulet, I would, if you can go for +2, great. I didn't need to, I didn't do it, I didn't want to invest that much, so I only have life, res, stats I need, and +1 all chaos, which I got for a couple of chaos orbs. On our belt, just a res belt, Stygian Vise if you can. slot a jewel with life, armor, minion attack speed, whatever you can find. So pretty easy to gear up. The flasks, I'm using spell suppression facing, armor, movement speed obviously, mana because I don't have crafted channeling skills have reduced mana cost. I'm anointing Soul of Steel. Another good anointment right here is going to be One with Evil to give you +1 maximum chaos resistance, so you go to a cap of 90. So Divine Flesh giving us 5, we have 3 times Born of Chaos, we are 14, and then if you go +1 you go to 90, but I choose this to get some more armor, so yeah. So that's about the gear. Quickly gonna run over the gems. Flesh Offering, Convocation. Now, Convocation is really nice because Agony Crawler sometimes stays somewhere or is not in the right position, so you can resummon it to yourself. Flesh Offering really good because it gives your Agony Crawler a bunch of attack speed and movement speed. And Desecrate is because if you're fighting a boss that has no ads, you can still then give your Agony Crawler a Flesh Offering. On our main 6th link is going to be Herald of Agony, damage on full life because Agony Crawler cannot lose life. Now this should be swapped if you can with the level 4 Empower, but since as I said, this is a level 19 gem, I didn't even want to invest that much, I didn't feel the need to. I'm just running with damage on full life, but level 4 Empower is going to give you much more power. Vicious Projectiles, Wild Toxins, Minion Damage, and added fire damage. Now of course, Awaken gems are much better because at level 5 they give you a +1 to your Agony Crawler, and they are extremely cheap this league, so I got myself some of them. Enduring Cry, this is going to be to get your endurance charges up all the time. Even though you're a Juggernaut, you're going to be having them anyways, so you're using this as a basic emergency life flask. Molten Shell on left click as you're running around is going to be activated most of the time, so it's just another layer of defense. So yeah, that's the gear. As I said, nothing too crazy going on here. So just to round up my guide, I would like to say my thanks to all of you who watch my videos. It's a great journey so far. This build is just to create some diversity, to show some new players what Divine Flesh can do on Glorious Vanity Jewel with Xibaqua. It can be used with many different builds. You just have to play around a little bit, maybe even sacrifice some damage to get those plus maximum chaos resistance nodes. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this one. Give it a chance if you want, but as I said, it's a non-meta build. It's definitely not performing like some other top tier builds. I think if GGG is to fix a little bit of AI problems with Agony Crawler and buff the damage it does to a single target, it would actually become a top tier build again. So yeah, as I said, thank you for watching and have a good one.